Ladies and gentlemen, won't you please join us on our cinematic journey as we watch the spectacular and the craptacular. Welcome to Movies with the Man. I'm Murray.
I'm Justin.
And this week we are doing the 1974 film Mr. Majestyk. Mr. Majestyk stars Charles Bronson, Linda Cristal, Paul Koslo, Lettieri. I hope I said
Lettieri.
that right. Lettieri. Oh, yeah. Lee Purcell, Taylor Lacher. That's pretty much the whole cast. It was directed by Richard Fleischer, who is
very prolific director. He directed
done a lot of stuff.
He directed Soylent Green, Red Sonja, Fantastic Voyage, Conan the Destroyer.
I thought you were going to say Red Sonja, fantastic movie. And I was like, no. It was written by Elmore Leonard, who's written a billion things.
Right. Crime writer extraordinaire.
I guarantee you, if you name 10 crime books, that dude probably wrote at least 3 or 4 of them.
Right. Things
that you just have stuck in your brain. But movies, Out of Sight, Get Shorty, Jackie Brown. He wrote 78 episodes of Justified.
Yep. He wrote the Western 310 The Yuma.
The short story.
Yeah, the short story it's based on. Yeah, my bad.
But I had no idea he had wrote that. And then Charles Bronson he's in lots of movies that have guns. And I will point something out that I have noticed about Charles Bronson that I greatly enjoy is his handling of guns in movies is some of the more realistic of people because he apparently in real life understands how guns work and does not do a lot of the dumb stuff. Now, this could be wrong, but I read that he refused to do some of the movie stuff that people would do because that's not how the gun works.
Right.
So he's like, why would I do that?
And you really get the impression that he is a guy that knows how to handle himself with guns and such. He's a pretty no nonsense, noble guy
in real life, not just in his movies.
Right.
I don't think he handles things in real life the way he handled things in the movies, with guns. But apparently he just had his ways that he did things, and that was the way it was going to be.
It's interesting. I read a ton of stuff that said he was a really great guy, and there's also a lot of stuff that he could be a Hollywood actor.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how so?
In this movie, they're filming in this town in La Junta in Colorado, and they had to shut down the main street while it's filming. Mm. And apparently he wasn't happy with the delays that were going on, so he just took his chair out and plopped himself down in the middle of the street, and townsfolk would come and see what's going on. They see Charles Bronson sitting there, and they go up and try to get a photo or say hi, and he would just say F off to all those people. So I think he was prickly. I think he could be very prickly.
He's like a Bill Murray, where you could either have the greatest night of your life, or he could be the biggest jerk you ever met in your life.
And there was another thing on this movie in the behind the scenes. He wasn't happy with the delay, and so he yells at Richard Fleischer, the director, "Why didn't you get a European crew? They would know how to handle this stuff and get stuff moving fast." And he said this for the whole crew here. And so I guess the rest of the movie, the crew hated him. They would only talk to him when they had to, and they called him Mr. Bronson. And he talked to the director later. It's like, what's going on? No one calls me Charlie. They all call me Mr. Bronson. What's that about? I've also read just as many things that said he was a really nice guy.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on who you talk to.
And like you said, I think he could be prickly if he wanted to be.
So this might have the shortest description I've ever read of any movie. A melon farmer battles organized crime and a hitman who wants to kill him.
Summed it up 100%.
In one sentence. There's nothing else in this movie.
It's a very bare bones action flick.
Yeah, there's no man trying to save his wife or trying to save his family, just trying to save his melon. I don't know where it is in my notes, but I wrote that he is obsessed with getting his melon crop done.
A mafia guy is trying to bribe him. He's like, what do you want? You want to go to Mazatlan? You want to go to L.A.? Let's do it. You want money? He's like, no, I've been to Mexico. I've been to L.A. What I want is to get my melon crop in.
I asked him if he wants to get laid, too. And he's like, and I've been laid.
Like, what I want is to get my melon crop in.
Yeah. The way this movie starts off, it starts off with him hiring migrant workers. I found it amusing that these migrant workers, the people he hired weren't migrant workers, excuse me. The people he ends up with were migrant workers later. And what I found amusing is that these Mexican workers who are trying to get work are being rounded up by another guy that
a handler.
Yeah, a handler that they have to pay money to, or Charles Bronson, one of the others, like either Majestyk or they pay that guy. He makes money.
I got
off
the
what they
impression
make.
he took a percentage of the workers' pay, each worker's pay,
and which I thought, this is kind of messed up. You have to have a middleman to get a under the table job,
to get a crew going.
That's not right. And while he's hiring them, that's where the actual migrant workers show up. And a woman wants to use the restroom, and the gas station attendant doesn't want him to use it because
he's being racist.
Yeah, extremely racist. I wanted to point something out about this scene. This is where the music starts playing, and this is a theme throughout the whole movie. The music sounds like somebody is playing it on a tape recorder that the battery is dying, because it's going...
Yeah, it's got a wobble to it.
Like, it's so bad. Like, I understand back in the day you have tape warble, but good God, it is awful through this movie. It sounded like somebody is like trying to do the soundtrack on a record and keep the speed with their finger, and they can't keep the pace right.
You got to think that was a choice, right? That's an artistic choice.
No, I think it's just bad recording.
Interesting.
Like, it's almost nails on a chalkboard at times because it's so awful.
I found the main...
It didn't ruin the movie for me.
I wrote down, I found the main theme to be catchy, but that's a good thing because they use it over and over.
No, they use it so much that I wrote notes down called Serious Driving, because they play that song every time he drives somewhere.
Yep.
And I'm just like, more serious driving. Like, through the whole movie, and I kept writing it down. And of course, more serious driving.
Yeah, they definitely got their money's worth out of that.
They use it over and over again. Real quick, before we get too far into this, I didn't read any of the scores this movie has. Rotten Tomatoes, we got the critic score at 84, which I couldn't believe it was that high. And the audience score is 67. Amazon's 4.7. Just Watch has it at 62. Letterboxd has it at 3.4. And IMDb has it at 6.7, which is pretty good for an IMDb movie. To me, if it's over 5, it's pretty good for IMDb, especially considering that these are not movies that everybody's just watching regularly.
Right.
That shows the people who do watch it generally tend to like it.
I remember watching this movie as a kid with the family, my dad. I'm sure my dad picked it up. And the one scene that, well, I don't want to give away, but there was one scene that stuck with me that I remember to this day, and we'll hit on it later.
So after he deals with the gas station attendant and hires his people, they get to his land and discover that there's somebody else already working his land.
There's already a crew working it.
And there's this guy named Bobby Coppice that is dressed as the worst cowboy I've ever seen in my life. It's definitely
it's like a guy going to a Halloween party.
Yes,
as
that's
a
what I was going to say. He looks like he's getting ready to be in a play.
Or like how Doc Brown dressed Marty to go back to...
That's actually what I thought. I almost wrote that down in my notes. That's like, who dressed this guy? Doc Brown? That's what I thought when I saw it. Yeah. And then he tries to intimidate Majestyk into hiring his people over the people he wants to hire. And he pulls out a shotgun. Majestyk ends up taking the shotgun from him, ramming it right into his crotch. Yep. And then he lets him go, throws it in the car, and that guy ends up calling the police.
Right. He tells the guy, tells Bobby Coppice, you should find a different line of work. You're not very good at this.
Yeah. Which at the end of the movie, he tells him again, I told you weren't very good at this.
But yeah, so Majestyk runs this crew. He has nothing against the crew that's working when he gets there, but he wants the guys he hired. Yes.
Well, his other thing is that he knows the guys he hired can actually cut melons. Right. He doesn't, as he says, I don't hire winos. One of the things that I found amusing about this too, as Majestyk goes out to tell all the winos that you don't get to do this, they start playing music over a loudspeaker that they have on top of their truck. And when he takes the shotgun from Bobby, he turns to the loudspeaker and just blows it to smithereens.
Yeah, Bobby Coppice, played by Paul Koslo. He was in many movies. Omega Man, he was in Vanishing Point, Heaven's Gate, he was in Robot Jocks. But he had a type he would play. He would just play the the douchebag sort of underling. That's kind of the niche he carved out for himself.
I mean, if he managed to have a long career out of it,
he did.
I would do it too.
Yep.
So, okay, the cops get called on him in this scene, and I cracked up at how this all goes down. The cops show up and say, there's been a complaint. We've got a warrant for your arrest. No investigation. Nothing. They really don't even tell him anything else. Throw him in the car and then peel out like a bat out of hell. They took off in a way that made me think they weren't cops. I thought this was those guys coming back to get him and pretending to be cops, or they were corrupt cops, because they took off so fast that I thought they were trying to hide the fact that they weren't doing something right. Not the case. They're actual cops. They just don't investigate crimes. They just accuse you and put you on trial.
Yeah, it was strange. They take Majestyk in, and the lieutenant is getting his side of the story, which is a good side of the story. He's like, these guys were trespassing on my property, and yeah, I hit the guy, but it was with his shotgun. Yeah. He was brandishing.
They don't care. He's going to jail. Doesn't matter.
Because Vince has a previous conviction for assault.
Where apparently he beat the living crap out of a guy, and then they lied about some of the guy's injuries. I don't know.
He said the guy who got beat up, his buddies lied and said that Vince started the
stomping on him when he was already passed out at one point. When he's in jail, he asks this guy across the room, go ahead.
One thing, don't forget, he tells the cops several times, I need to get my melons in.
Yeah.
Hey, let me do that for a week. I'll come back.
Yeah, he tries to negotiate that I'll come back in a couple days.
Which, you know what, it seems pretty reasonable. I mean, he's not...
Well, I agree. That's not how police work. I mean, you don't just get to be like, hey, can I finish this and come back later? Yeah. I mean, he's not rich, so he doesn't get to do that kind of stuff. When he's in jail, they're all sitting down eating, and there's a guy across the room. He asks him for sausage, and then the dude just throws it on the ground like a jerk.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, and Vince is like, oh, I guess not, huh? And then he points at the tray on the ground and says, help yourself.
Then he asks him for a cigarette, and then the dude sitting at the table with Majestyk tells him, like, don't you know who that is? And then tells him
that's Frank Renda.
That's Frank Renda. He's an assassin, and
he's a mob hitter.
Majestyk doesn't care. He goes, oh, yeah, I know who he is. He's a celebrity. He's on TV. Just joking around because he just doesn't care.
And probably the worst thing in the whole movie to me is Charles Bronson trying to do comedy.
Agreed. Actually, Charles Bronson is better at being funny without trying to be funny.
Right.
Like his stuff is unintentionally hilarious at times. They all get on a bus because they're being transported to a prison or the jail. And during this, I don't know if he's his partner or whatever, his character's name is Gene Lundy. And
it's like his number 2.
Yeah. And he stages an escape where he shoots into the bus, nails the bus driver.
They're killing security. They're killing guards and police all over the place.
First off, this is something I wrote in here. I wrote in my notes how good their aim is and that the cops all have stormtrooper aim because it is so bad. They can't hit these guys for nothing. Right. I also noted that there's one scene where a car drives by a cop car. The guy grabs his shotgun, shoots into the cop car. I don't even know if there was anybody in the cop car when they did it, but the cop car, they shoot into it, mind you. It explodes right there for no reason at all where the shotgun hit it, and the door kind of rips off when nothing hit it, and the explosion is not even remotely big enough to have done what it did to the door. There's a lot of stuff I noticed like this. Like later on, a car goes off a cliff, and I noticed
the wire. Yeah, my wife noticed that.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, you're trying to get the shots as quickly as possible. Sometimes
Renda wants the keys. He's yelling at Majestyk to go get the keys.
Oh, yeah. And Vince is gumming up the works.
And
he would have escaped it.
So Majestyk lets the cops know that there's wounded cops on the bus. And then he has other people carry the cops off the bus, leaving him and Renda still on the bus. Then he takes the bus. And here's something I didn't understand. The cops drive off chasing the other bad guys in their car. No one chases Majestyk on the bus, and he just gets away. So 2 criminals on a bus after a bunch of cops have just been shot are just able to just drive away on this school bus.
Right.
I mean, excuse me, this prison bus.
Weren't they being chased, but he was able to shake one?
I don't think so. I don't remember. Maybe I'll have to go back and look, but I did not see anybody chasing him.
I feel like there was one car chasing him, and since Vince knows the land so well, he's able to.
I was writing my notes when I did this, so it's possible I overlooked that part, but here's what I want to say about that. Let's say you're right. We don't get out the helicopter. We don't have 30 other police cars chasing this dude.
Which they've shown later in the movie. They have a helicopter.
They have a helicopter. And this would have been they give up looking for him. They're not looking for him because they end up going into some weird hideout building.
Yeah, it's a Majestyk's hunting cabin. It's where they end up.
Yeah.
You think about this. This is the worst plan ever. Majestyk plans to kidnap Renda himself and negotiate. I'll bring Renda back if you drop the charges so I can go get my melons out of the field.
Yeah,
that's a terrible plan.
He takes him to the woods, to his cabin, and I was wondering, like, why is he doing this? This is ridiculous. And then he uncuffs him. and then gets punched in the face. What do you expect?
Right.
Like, you knew Renda was going to do that. Then they end up fighting. He ends up getting handcuffed again. And then he tries to convince him that they should leave town together. And that's where I wrote down that he just seems to be really worried about his crop. Not the police.
Now, he has said if he doesn't get this crop in, he's going to go bankrupt.
I understand that.
I mean, that's his motivation.
A fugitive on the run.
Yes.
I would think at this point that melon crop means nothing.
You'd be wrong.
Yeah. So he offers him money, $25,000, just to let him go.
Yeah, just look the other way. And
he's supposed to get a phone number and then go make a call and say he needs money. So he ends up going to like a bait shop is what it was or something?
Like a proto convenience store / bait shop.
I noticed there was all this bait outside, but when they went inside, I couldn't tell what they were actually selling. That doesn't look like food or anything.
Yeah, so, it was a real weird place.
And then I thought the whole scene was weird when he's like, hey, can I use your phone? She's like, well, it's going to cost this much money. And he's like, well, I don't have any money. And she's like, well, I guess I can trust you to use the phone. Then when he's on the phone, he asks if he can make another long distance phone call. So because he calls the cops and makes the negotiation to give up Renda for his freedom. And then
he calls the
phone number that Renda gave him and then asks for 2 beers to go for free. And
that's part of what he calls when he calls Renda's number, he tells...
Oh, that's what the 375 was. And that's what... But still, she doesn't know that he was going to pay that back. What you don't understand, folks, is that he's supposed to call and ask for that $25,000. But what he ends up doing is calling and asking for the $375 that the beers he asked for would cost.
To pay for the beers and the phone calls.
Yeah, and he pays for the beers, he pays for the phone calls by having this woman named Wiley go there, because that's who Renda had him call.
I assume that Wiley is Renda's lady friend?
It is his lady friend. Yeah, like later on they're holding hands and walking together. Right. Because I was confused by the fact that they're 19 years apart in age, which, whatever, they're both adults, but still... I'm like,
that's a big age gap.
But I still was just like, this woman had no idea that he was going to pay for those beers or anything. So I just thought, what a weird thing to ask for. Just two beers. And also, again, what are we thinking about here? You're a fugitive on the run. You're trying to negotiate your freedom and you're worried about getting some beers? Come on, man.
Well, and then when Wiley shows up, they get in the car and Renda thinks he is taking him up on the $25,000. But they're driving along. Wiley's driving. And Vince asked, did you do what I asked? And she's like, sure did. Stopped at that store, gave him $375. And Renda's like, what's going on here? And that's when Vince says, I'm turning you in.
Yeah, because doesn't he say, he said we had a deal, and he's like, I made another deal. And that's how you know, that's where Renda realizes he's setting him up. That's when Wiley asked Renda, do you want some cigarettes?
Right.
And I mean, instantly there's a gun in the purse. And
everyone knew it except for Vince.
And then that's when Renda reaches into the purse. Vince realizes what's going on, and then they end up having a fight over the gun. Now, I laughed real hard. She immediately starts losing control of the car because they're fighting because she's scared the gun is being waved at her, and she's worried she's going to get shot. Now, what I laughed at about this scene is as they're wrestling around in the back, Renda gets out of the car, has the gun. Majestyk just Hulk smashes through the back window of the car. Folks, if you go home and try to dive through the back windshield of your car, I promise you're going to end up with nothing more than a headache and maybe at most a cracked windshield.
Now, Renda had shot through the back window.
Okay, come on, man. I'm sorry. That dude smashed through that thing like it wasn't there.
He flew out of that back window.
I mean, and it only broke into 3 pieces when he did it. There's no way that dude was going through there. I get that he shot through it and it could have weakened the glass, but to get out unscathed.
So after that, Vince goes back to the cops and
gets put back in jail.
Yeah. Vince is like, I had him.
I enjoy that. Next, we see Renda on the run, and they're driving him around in an Airstream.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, top of the line back then.
That's when he hooks back up with his number 2, Lundy, and they're like, we're free. Oh, you find out at this point that they had arrested Frank for murder, but the witness to the murder was a police officer who got killed in the gunfight.
Mm-hmm.
So
they have nothing on him now.
No witness, no murder. So Renda is going to get to go free.
Mm-hmm.
He's free at this point. He can just take off.
Yep, but he doesn't want to because he wants to kill Majestyk.
Yeah.
He expresses his anger and his rage, and he points out that he's never killed anybody for free. So he's doing one for himself.
Right.
This is where they come up with the plan to find out who made the complaint, to get Majestyk arrested, because they realize they can't get him in jail. So they are going to go to Bobby and have him
drop the charges.
And that way they can go after Majestyk.
And at that point, Bobby kind of becomes one of his crew, or I guess he's a useful idiot.
I don't know what he is, because
all they do is yell at him.
Brenda hates that dude.
Yeah, he does.
Through the whole movie.
But they're using him, I should say.
So Bobby ends up dropping the charges, and Majestyk gets let loose, but the cops try to let him know that, hey, they're smart. They realize this dude more than likely dropped the charges because Renda's trying to kill you. Mm-hmm. Majestyk doesn't care. He's got melons he's got to go deal with.
And at this point, he's also pretty fed up with the cops.
Yeah, because he's mad. He realizes the cops just want to use him as bait.
Right. And the lieutenant says, "You're going to be on your own." And Vince says, "I've been on my own since the beginning. What's changed now?"
But what I love about this whole scene is when he says that, "I bet you hope he pulls it off so you can nail him for murder." And then the cop says, "It did cross my mind, but I'll settle for attempted."
That's pretty good. Those are pretty good back and forth.
I want to point some things out about the way the cops handle this. They're 50 feet from his house, pretending to be construction workers 24 hours a day.
And they're using trucks that say Yuma County on them.
It's blatantly obvious that they're police. They're not making any attempts to hide in their little shed where they've got their radio equipment. They just leave the door open so you can see all the radio equipment, because this is things normal construction guys on dirt roads have. But that's besides the point.
Well, I should say it's clear that everyone except for Bobby, because he doesn't catch it.
He doesn't realize it. So they ended up letting him go to be used as bait. He goes back to trying to hire a crew. The problem he's finding out is that somebody is scaring the handlers. And as I wrote here in my notes, there's a lot of scenes where he's driving around again some more to bummer music. And it's
so
more
basically
serious driving music.
He's just left with the
migrant workers,
yeah,
which is the woman that he helped at the gas station and all her friends, and they've been doing everything. And he ends up developing a relationship with that woman as the movie goes on. Wouldn't be a Charles Bronson movie if he didn't have a lady friend, because most of the ones I've seen, he ends up getting a lady friend. At least this one's not, super young in comparison, because there's a few movies where I'm like, this woman's 30 years younger than you. What are you doing?
Well, I will say this is one of the few movies made after Death Wish where the lady friend is not Jill Ireland, because Jill Ireland was his wife in real life, and they worked maybe in 24 movies.
Good Lord.
I mean, I think that was a stipulation, and you want Bronson.
I'd probably do it too if they'd let me. I'd just be like, yeah, put my wife in the movie. Who cares?
And she's an actress, so it works well enough. But I will say that the actress who plays Nancy Chavez, Linda Cristal, she is gorgeous in this movie.
Oh, yeah, I agree. After Majestyk confronts the handler guy about what's going on and learns that they're being bullied and threatened, he goes outside and Bobby's sitting out there on a car. And Bobby is trying to convince him that now you need my help. You need to hire my crew. And then he accidentally...
Want to hire some winos?
And then he accidentally lets it slip that Majestyk's in deep. Bruh. And that's how Majestyk realizes, oh, you've been talking to Renda. I still don't understand why they keep him around, because he does them no favors at all.
No.
He does nothing.
He's not good at anything.
No, he's a moron.
Vince and his crew of migrant workers, it looks like they're able to get most of the melon crop in. So you get the impression they've worked like a couple of 18-hour days.
So Bobby and Lundy go pick up Renda after he lands in his plane with Wiley, and Renda says he wants to immediately be taken to the farm so he can see where he lives. And what I find amusing is that they're all working on the farm. And they just drive by, like not trying to be inconspicuous or anything, trying to hide that they're there. Majestyk could have been out on the field and saw them and just been like, oh, hey, what's going on? They don't try to hide what they're doing or anything.
They're very cavalier.
Which seems to be a theme later on, because when they're watching his house, this is what cracked me up, is that they're just out in the open. They don't try to hide. They try to make it seem like they're being sneaky, but when you see them, it's blatantly obvious that they're just out in the open.
Yeah, they're trying to be sneaky, but you get the impression they're a little lazy.
They're all morons. Mm-hmm. And this is where Renda learns, when he sees the people working construction down the road, he realizes they're all cops.
Right.
And that's when he starts screaming at Bobby.
Why didn't you spot this?
And he tells Bobby, get out of the car. And Bobby's like, my car's like 4 to 5 miles from here. they just leave him.
Yeah.
They don't care. They make him walk off, which now Bobby's got to walk by the farm.
Yeah.
Which I thought, if I were Majestyk, I would already be beating these dudes up or fighting them or doing whatever. And that's where Renda ends up going to his ridiculous cabin that's out there that apparently was it was owned by a client of his current lawyer.
Right. Who was a stockbroker, I believe.
Yes, it was a stockbroker who's in prison now.
That doesn't speak well of the lawyer.
No, not at all. And that's when we get
But you get the impression he's a high-powered attorney.
That's when we get a montage of melon picking. Then that's when they decide after their hard day's work, they're going to go to the bar.
Yep. Frank I get the names confused. Vince is still acting like nothing's really going to happen.
He just doesn't care. He's just carefree about everything. Goes to the bar. The police are like, "What's going on?" They drive off to follow him. And this is where the cop goes and gets in the
leave
Johnny
one
on the
cop
job
at the scene.
Yeah, and he goes to go to the bathroom. And Renda and these dudes have another guy drive up and smash into the bathroom. And that doesn't kill the cop. So they go up and
Renda beats him to death with a 2x4.
Yeah, beats him to death with a big board. And then they go and raid the house. Well, obviously, we just told you Majestyk's not there. So they're angry. They go and find, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy who worked for him.
Vince's right-hand man.
Yeah,
his foreman.
Larry, that's who it was. It was Larry. Mm-hmm. They go and grab Larry's family and pull him out and then basically hold his kid to threaten, where's Majestyk at? Yeah. He doesn't know. So they go and get all the workers and say, where is he? And act like they're going to hurt the kid. But they can tell that they're telling the truth and they literally have no idea where he is. Then they tell them they all need to leave.
Yeah.
So they all do.
You got 60 seconds to clear out.
Yeah, and they all do. Larry makes his family leave, but he sticks around to help Majestyk because he was actually going to help Majestyk pick all the melons. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to that point here in a minute. So from here, this is where one of my favorite moments in the movie occurs. And I would like to do this. I think this would be fun where all the bad guys go to where all the melons are and they just shoot them up.
Right.
And they just blow them away.
And this is the scene that stuck with me from when I saw it as a kid. Is this group of guys using automatic weapons to just go to work on this.
The mow down melons. I thought this would be fun. I think this would be a blast to just shoot a whole bunch of watermelons with machine guns and stuff like that.
And it works in the story because like we've said several times, this is the only thing that Majestyk cares about is getting these melons in, and they're destroying them. So
after this, we cut to the bar where Majestyk is talking to Nancy, and Nancy's pretty straightforward about if you want to go to the Bone Zone, just tell me and we're going. And
he wants to go to the Bone Zone.
Yes, he definitely wants to go. She gets up, goes to the bathroom. Well, plans are ruined because Renda shows up. And he sits down and he starts telling him that he's going to kill him.
Yeah.
And then Majestyk just gets up and punches him in the face. He just doesn't care.
Which, to be honest, that's the perfect Charles Bronson response. Not to say anything, just to deck him.
What makes it so great is when they're having their conversation, when Renda threatens him, he goes, "What are you doing? There's 2 cops over there." And then after he punches him, he looks at him, he goes, "Hey, why don't you call the cops?" And nods and points at the cops. I thought this scene
is a great scene.
Yeah, it was good. It was amazing. So that's when he goes home and he finds out that they shot up all his melons.
And drove off all the workers.
And how you know that he's upset is because Charles Bronson puts down his head and clenches his fist real hard. It's ridiculous.
So at this point, he wants to get Nancy out of there because she's in danger.
Yeah, he's been trying to send her off. They've loaded up a truck with melons. Mm-hmm. Larry's helped him do it. Larry's there because he's going to have Larry go drop it off.
They've gone through the pile of shot up melons and salvaged the ones that they could.
There were still a lot of good melons left over there. I was like, you could get more truckloads out of this. Get out of here. They barely shot up any of his. It was surface level shooting. Let's be real.
Yeah, when they shoot up, it looks like every single one of them is getting shot. But when they pull all the debris, it's just a little pile.
It was just one layer of melons. That dude still had a good crop, and they weren't even done picking the crop.
Right.
But the problem is Majestyk is giving up. And I think it's because he doesn't want anybody to get hurt, is what it is. He realizes the other people are going to get hurt, not just him.
They threaten Larry's family. This is getting too much.
And this is where, like you said, he tries to send his lady away, but he tells Larry, I just want you to go drop off this one last load, and then you can go.
And then you get out of here.
And as Larry goes and drops off the load, he's followed by Renda and Bobby and all of them. And then they get out and grab him and hold him up against the loading dock as they drive the car up and smash into his legs.
Lundy smashes into him. An excruciating scene. That looks horrible.
Yeah. So then they cut to the hospital, and Majestyk is walking in, and you can hear a cop asking about when Larry gets out of surgery. And that's when Larry wakes up, and Larry's worried about Majestyk, and tells him he needs to run and hide.
Right. He's in excruciating pain.
And as I wrote in my notes, we know that won't happen because Charles Bronson takes no
So that's when now it's on.
And this is the part you talked about where the cops offer protection, and that's where he tells him that he's been on his own the whole time because he turns it down, and they're pretending they're going to pull back, but they're really not. They know he's going to do what he does, and they just let him go do it. They know he's going to go on a murderous rampage and just allow him to go do it.
Right.
Which I have beefs with later too, because it's so ridiculous that they let what they let this man get away with. I mean, if we go backwards, the fact that they were just going to let him bring Frank Renda in and then just drop his charges was so ridiculous.
That is funny. That goes back to it's a harebrained scheme to begin with. There's no way the cops are going to negotiate with Majestyk. You bring him in, we'll drop those charges.
Yes.
That's
never mind
happen.
that you have an escape on you now.
Yeah.
That's a crime too. So after he leaves the police station, Renda and them are watching a house.
But he gets home and he sees Nancy.
Renda comes up and talks to Bobby. Bobby tells Renda that the woman's in there. That's when you see Renda walk off.
And then Charles Bronson dives into the dirt.
Right.
And then he ninjas around all his land so he can count how many bad guys there are all over his land.
And he's able to ninja his way into the house without
them seeing him. They are terrible goons. they are the worst of goons. How Renda can rely on these men is baffling to me.
Right.
But then again, they haven't ever came up against Charles Bronson.
That's right. Haven't these guys seen The Great Escape? I mean, he takes no bullshit.
I believe they end up back at the cabin, don't they? Because that's where Lundy comes back and is telling Frank that the police are there. There's all this stuff.
Back at the dude ranch.
Yeah, he said, we need to wait. And Frank says, no, we can't wait. We can't do any of this stuff.
I got to do this now.
Now, I want to point something out about this scene. When Lundy shows up and Renda opens the door, there's music playing. This music that is playing absolutely does not fit anywhere into this scene. It's what I would call piano. Like, it sounds like some saloon music that you would hear.
Is that soundtrack or is that something that's playing in?
No, it's like they make it sound like it's music he's listening to in his place. But like I said, it's just
doesn't fit.
It's barroom piano. It would had me cracking up because it just doesn't seem like this is what they'd actually be listening to.
Well, this is a dude ranch that they rented, so maybe that's all.
That's that's all there. Maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it is just barroom saloon piano. Or maybe they're listening to one of Bobby's tapes.
And I don't know if you ever noticed this. Isn't important to the plot at all, but Renda's lady friend, Wiley, I don't know if you noticed, she's carrying a Bible around.
No, I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, and you'll see her.
So their relationship makes no sense.
Right.
She's a Christian,
right,
dating a murderer.
She's reading the Bible, and I did a little Google research. Apparently, that was an acting choice she made to carry the Bible. Like I said, that's neither here nor there.
So this is where Renda goes back to Majestyk's house because he's now planning to raid the house. And this is where he starts bullying Bobby into being the guy who goes in first. Yeah. And Bobby's all afraid, like, I've never done anything like this. What are you talking about? I can't do this.
And Renda's like, you'll be great. They're basically going to use him as cannon fodder.
And then we see Majestyk telling his lady friend, you need to get out of here. You need to leave. And while Brenda's out there waiting and watching, they see her walk out. And as she gets in the truck.
And she loads stuff into the back of the truck.
Yeah. And as she gets in the truck, she loads stuff in and peels out. And as she's peeling out, Majestyk dives into the back end of the truck and takes off.
Yeah, pretty cool scene.
This is one of the most glorious parts of this movie, if not the best, because this chase scene, dude, the off-road drive down the mountain, I laughed so hard. I had to rewind it because I was cracking up at the amount of hell this truck went through.
Crashes down into
50 yards, it seems like. Crashes.
In the ditches.
Drives over ditches that I'm pretty sure would have destroyed the axle of that vehicle. I like just the way it comes barreling down this mountain, and they're just so calm inside the vehicle as they're racing down.
Seriously, Bronson's in the bed of this truck. How many times would he have flown out? At least 3 or 4.
Yes.
You want to hear something that's going to make this even more ridiculous?
Yes.
In the research that I did, I read that this Ford F-150 was not altered in any way. This was a stock truck.
They had to have used more than one.
I don't know, but they said that Ford was so impressed with what it does in this movie. They used that in ads.
Wow.
Like for like 2 or 3 years.
That's crazy. Yeah, didn't know that. That's amazing. Dude, they should have, because it's
if this
ridiculous.
is a stock truck surviving all this.
If you don't watch this movie, it's worth watching that scene, because it was so absurd what they do with this truck. And it makes it all the way down the hill and ends up behind some of the goons.
Right. He's able to off-road it to maneuver himself to get behind the pursuers.
And they end up knocking the goons off the road, which you can see the wire on the car as the car goes off the road. And then the car rolls and you can see one of their arms come flopping out. And then, of course, it explodes.
Yeah. I pulled the old Groundhog Day bit when it rolls down. Oh, they might be okay. And then boom. Oh, probably not now.
And then as they're driving through this backwoods mountainous area, Renda realizes that he's been lured into Majestyk's hunting grounds.
And just as he realizes it, Bronson shoots through the windshield, missing them, of course.
Mm-hmm. But Bronson has taken care of all the goons. The only people are left are
Lundy, Bobby, and Renda.
Yeah.
And so Renda and them go back to the cabin. And this is where Majestyk is sitting outside in the woods, and Renda,
he's still hunting them.
You got Renda and them looking out the windows, and Renda tells him he's out there in those woods.
He's out there somewhere.
As he's looking with binoculars, you get the trope of, as he sees them in the binoculars, comes into focus, boom,
Bronson
he shoots at him.
aiming the gun
he's aiming the gun right at him, shoots, he misses again.
So at this point, Renda Wiley's there as well. She's at the cabin. So he's like, Wiley, he won't shoot you. You go out and you talk to him.
Yeah, he sends her outside and she sells him out.
Right.
She tells him she
don't want to die.
No, and they let her leave. Yeah, they just let her go.
What's her name again? The Wiley and Nancy, they go walk, and they're walking out to the road to meet the police. Now it's just down to the 4 guys left.
Majestyk manages to sneak his way all the way up to the house. And he does it as Bobby, Renda, and Lundy all decide to go upstairs. And I laughed because when they get up the stairs, Renda turns around and sees Bobby up there and starts screaming at him, "I didn't tell you to come up here."
Yeah. Which is literally what they did earlier. He said, let's go upstairs to get a better view.
Yeah.
So they all go up there, and then he starts yelling at Bobby, "I didn't tell you to come up here."
So then Renda goes out on the roof, and Majestyk is out on the front porch of this cabin, and he's in the corner.
Kind of in a blind spot.
Renda walks all the way over to a part of the roof where he can look down and see down there. Majestyk jumps up high enough to where when Renda looks down, he can't see him. However, I will point out that Majestyk did not jump high enough to have made that scene appear the way it did. Bronson jumps up like 2 feet. And he had to have jumped 4 or 5 to have made it past where he needed to be out of visual range.
But in the movie, he does it. And so Renda can't see him.
Doesn't see him, walks back to the house. Now, what I thought was genius on Renda's part is that he had sent Lundy back downstairs, and as he's walking back into the window, he yells, "There he goes, go out there and get him," to trick Lundy into going outside in order to expose where Majestyk is. And it works, but he also ends up getting Lundy blown away.
Right. Which Lundy takes a shot to the chest. He's still alive. He gets a shot off at Majestyk, and it takes a second shotgun blast to kill Lundy.
This is a trope that happens in movies a lot, where somebody gets shot and they keep shooting. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest. Once you have shot me, I don't really care about anything else. We're cool now. We're done.
You got me.
You got me. I lose. You win. A-okay.
But yeah, it shows you how much of a cold-blooded bastard Renda is. Yeah. He sacrifices. You're assuming it's a friend? I mean, this guy has been supporting Renda the whole time.
And this is where Bobby realizes that Renda's a POS and says he wants out. He don't want nothing to do with it no more.
And Renda tells him, okay.
And then he throws him down the stairs, which I thought was amusing, and then tells Bobby go outside, which Bobby's like, I don't want to go outside.
I'll get killed.
And
he's like, you're going to get killed if you stay in here.
Yeah, and then he decides to stay. And then Renda shoots at him, scares Bobby. Bobby runs outside. And that's where you learn Majestyk is just outside the door. And Bobby is on the railing out there, and he whispers to Bobby, where's he at? Bobby rats him out and tells him he's on the stairwell.
And so he tells Bobby, you put yourself over the
To make it look like
railing.
he killed him, right?
And then he shoots.
Yeah, then he shoots that, make it look like he killed Bobby. And then we are treated to one of the most spectacular murders ever. Majestyk dives through the front window.
Shotgun in hand.
Shotgun in hand, blasts Renda in the chest. Renda goes over the stair railing and out the window.
It's terrific.
And so the police finally show up. Which, by the way, Bobby takes off, runs to the car, and something we glossed over is earlier, Majestyk stole the keys out of the car. Yeah. And so when Bobby's trying to leave, he holds the keys up, and he's like, crap. So then he holds Bobby at gunpoint till the police show up.
Right.
The police show up, and the lieutenant just takes the gun from Majestyk and then tells him, I'm going to need to talk to you later. They don't investigate anything.
Right.
Like, he would have been in jail. Would have been the end of him.
All this stuff, maybe after an investigation, he would have been set free because it's obvious.
But he still would have been taken into custody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. But nope, they tell him he can get in his truck and he can go. And then as he's driving off, he looks at the cops and he says, you know what? You were right. You really was trying to kill me.
Oh, and as he's walking away, he walks by Bobby and he goes, I told you, kid, you're not made for this.
And then they end the movie with him driving off to more serious driving music.
Yeah, with Nancy.
Yep. All right, Justin, what'd you give it?
I would give this one a 4 as well.
Oh, it's a 4.
It's a great action movie, bare bones. You know, there's not a lot of superfluous stuff going on. It's just a straight story.
Nothing to think about, nothing to care about.
Let's face it, at this point, Bronson had gotten the formula down. He's going to go on screen, be Charles Bronson, and kill a bunch of bad guys.
Which I would like to point out, in the last year, I've went on kind of a Bronson fest and watched, I don't know, maybe 10 of his movies in the last year. How this man ever got acting to be his profession is beyond me, because what he does is not acting.
Right.
He's just in the movie. He almost has no emotions. He does nothing. At most, he smiles and shows anger by balling up his fists.
Right.
But I still find a lot of his movies to be greatly entertaining. As a matter of fact, I find most of his movies to be way more entertaining than anything Chuck Norris was ever in.
Yeah, they're more entertaining than they have any right to be.
Yeah, not for the reasons they want them to be, though. They're unintentionally funny is how I'd say they are.
Like you said, when he tries to do humor, it's terrible. But when he's unintentionally being funny, it's great.
Later on, we're going to cover Love and Bullets. I believe.
Yeah, we also had The Mechanic on.
Do we have The Mechanic on our list? I couldn't remember. Might have to put Telephone on there at some point, too.
Dude, that is seriously one of my favorite movies.
And maybe we might have to put 10 to Midnight on this list, too. 10 to Midnight is one of my favorite Charles Bronson movies.
I've never seen 10 to Midnight.
Oh, dude, that movie is glorious.
But I've seen Telephone.
What's the name of the Bronson movie where he's a street fighter? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Hard Times, I think.
Oh, dude, I watched that this year, too. That's an awesome movie.
James Coburn in it,
That's
too.
actually a good movie.
Right.
Like, I enjoyed that movie thoroughly.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Bronson's been in some of the biggest action movies of all time. The Great Escape, A Dirty Dozen, Once Upon a Time in the West.
Well, I got into a discussion. I got into a discussion with somebody not too long ago about how that dude's career, up to a point, almost paralleled Clint Eastwood's career. But Clint Eastwood took it where he took it, and Bronson took it where he took it. It's like Clint Eastwood took it down the road
to a higher level.
Yes, that required probably a lot more effort and a lot more work. Bronson took the low road and with a lot less work and a lot less effort.
We've talked about this off mic before. He was the kind of actor that, like, when 4 o'clock rolled around, that's it. It's time
I mean, come on. How many of his movies at the end of his career were all canon films? I mean, that right there should tell you he was phoning it in big time.
Right. But still a tremendous movie force. There's something kind of mesmerizing about him.
Did we do the ratings? Did we both give him? Yeah, we gave it 4s.
Both gave him 4 stars. Highly recommend you go watch it.
If you liked what you heard, man, follow, subscribe on your favorite podcast app.
Right. I'm on Letterboxd, but I'm currently locked out of my account. So
I am on Letterboxd.
I will eventually figure that out.
I am on Letterboxd as Murmur Man if you want to follow me.
We are seriously the worst podcasters ever.
Yeah, pretty bad. All right, folks, I hope you had a good time. See you later.
Okay, bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show, but it's time for